All right. What's up, dude? What's up, YouTube? This is Anthony Fallon, Tone Setter Sports Channel. I just wanted to get this video in before I lay it down tonight. Um, yeah, good win. Not the best looking win. We haven't won any good. All of our games been pretty ugly, and we had one of the ugliest losses within our winning streak. We're now winning 6 out of 7 games, and oh gosh, I don't know what we're gonna do in the playoffs. Especially the offense is so anemic, man. Offense is at such a premium for us. Like I can't tell you what we're gonna do in the playoffs. Um, only if we don't step it up offensively, man, because we're hurting our defense. Thanks to our defense, this game that we won this game. To be honest with you, I'm not worried about the bad calls and stuff like that, because you're just going to get calls are going to go your way. Calls or not, they should never affect the game if you're executing offensively, particularly in the red zone, um, and just throughout the game. Is that they're just consistent at being inconsistent. Um, you can say execution is part of it, and then we could blame it on the offensive uh, play caller. You know what I'm saying? On Linehan. Um, that's not happening the rest of this season. So going into the playoffs, man, it's gonna be a very brutal game, and it really it's gonna come down to matchup for the most part. Um, it's gonna come down to matchup, and who we're gonna get in the wild, who we're gonna play in the wild card. And it could be Minnesota or it could be Philly. We could end up playing Seattle. Seattle pretty much got it locked, so it's like Minnesota and Philly. Minnesota they really have to win out, and Philly has to win out in order to make the wild card. So that's and really don't want to we don't want to play Philly again because it's too much familiarity, and it's hard to beat a rival team 3 times in a row. Especially with the way we won both games, to be honest with you. And Minnesota, we got to, as long as they're not running the ball, but their main thing is their front line is they're nasty, man, and we have a problem with our offensive line of when we go against a stout defensive front, especially with the amount of sacks that we give up with Dak holding the ball too long. I mean, you saw it in that Tampa game uh, where I think did they sack him? I think they no. It was a dump off to Zeke, but I think it went incomplete. And Aikman showed the tight end getting behind the linebacker on a deep cross in the right in the middle crossing pattern, and that he had that window right there. That way really should have thrown the ball to. So the guys are getting open. Dak is just not seeing it in time because of the offensive line. He has happy feet right now, uh, and his clock is going off a lot faster. Um, Maybe he's not reading the defense uh, all the way. Uh, what Troy Aikman was really outlining was uh, anticipating his throws. If he just holds the ball, and if he knows where he's going with it, he knows how long to hold the ball and wait for that window to open up. And you got to throw it before you got to throw the receiver open when you anticipating a pass or anticipating two pass. So you got to know when as soon as that tight end making his cut, you ought to be popping that ball right there in that window where he should be facing you, facing his numbers towards you, and ready. And by the time he turned, that ball should be damn there, should be halfway there, and he run through the catch, through the catch. And matter of fact, a prime example is when Swain was on a short cross, maybe about a 5 to 7 yard crossing pattern, and Dak scrambled out of the pocket, and then he threw the ball, and Swain dropped it because the ball was thrown behind him. Now I understand that Dak was harried a little bit because he had pressure in his face. But you got to throw the you got to throw when he's wide open like that. You just got to throw the ball ahead of him and let him catch it and run through the ball so he can turn up the field in that game. So I'm not really want to talk about the game. I mean, because the game was not impressive. I'm not impressed with the offense, period. I'm not impressed with the defense right now because the defense is on the field too damn long because the lack of offensive consistency, the lack of momentum on the offensive side. And so the defense is getting exposed. And if everybody's been praising the defense and stuff like that, and still got to remember that our DBs are still young. You know what I'm saying? They're most of them are a couple of them. Well, our three primary, Awuzie, Lewis, and Woods. This is only their second year, and then Byron has to be really be have to acclimate himself this year in being um, a cornerback as well because they had him at a free safety last year. And they didn't know what to do with Byron Jones. That and it kind of hindered him a little bit, um, a little bit. But nevertheless, they're solid. They are solid players. Not the best cornerbacks in the league, but they're solid players as long as the defensive uh, front is getting pressure on the quarterback. They just got to turn. They just got to know how to turn the balls over, man. Um, that's I mean simple as that. They got to know how to be playmakers, and I think Cowboy 1998 and 1980 had mentioned that in his clip, and I agree with him on that one. Uh, those guys got to know how to turn their heads, man, because they can make some plays, especially Byron. Um, and Byron, but see, Byron tends to have a problem with shorter, shifty guys, quicker guys. Uh, you know, um, but Mike Evans is a very physical wide receiver too, and he has some speed. And yes, he pushes off a lot. So calls can go your way. He's one of the most penalized wide receivers in pass interference. As so we just didn't get those calls, but it's okay because it never should determine the outcome of the game. Never, never, because playing, going, marching down the field on every drive should be goal and getting into scoring position. If you're not in the red, if you're not in the red zone, but at least in scoring position, whether it's touchdown or 3 points. Now, what I really want to talk about is that every I hope that Garrett does not rest his starters. Now, I'm going to say this though. Let me clarify what I'm saying in the title. You know what I'm saying? No sitting the starters week 17 is because look at what happened in the preseason when they sat down all the starters for like 2 weeks, the last two games, and primarily Zeke, Dak, the O line guys, and then the guys came off flat the first 4 games, trying to get their rhythm back because 2 weeks off, or even just a week off while they have some momentum, and that's the reason why I want to play them in week 17 is to go into the postseason with a W. You know what I'm saying? Because it makes the record look better, 10-6. Two, it's momentum. You know what I'm saying? Um, and because we can't play with these hungrier teams, these especially a team like Seattle that's been there, done that, knows how to win if we end up playing them in the wild card. You know what I'm saying? So uh, that's going to be a must. Also, Minnesota has experience. Maybe not the quarterback, but the team overall has experience knowing what it's like to be in the playoffs. Philadelphia, the team knows what it's like to go the distance. That's what we're going to be up against if those guys decide to take a week off and come out flat. Matter of fact, you remember in 2016 when we went 13-3, he sat him out uh, the last game of the week, and then they turned around and had a bye, and then they played Green Bay and they came out flat the whole first half. You can't afford that because Dak doesn't have the experience. Zeke does not have the experience. Now, what I can say is that you play them the first half, majority of the snaps, and then second half, you play them sparingly. You know what I'm saying? Just so they can get a breather. And let the backups come in and stuff like that. Shit like that. So, that's all I'm saying. Really, is because you got to learn from your mistakes. You can't do that. You cannot do that. The team is not ready. The team has not been cultivated to be winners and to win consistently because they can't even play consistently offensively, and the play is so inconsistent that is trickling over to the defense, where the defense is exhausting themselves, and it's going to really be up to them to make plays to keep us in the game. You can expect them to just make plays all the time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we got two turnovers. You know what I'm saying? With the forced fumble, the two fumbles or whatnot. So it's really good that we was in position to capitalize on that because we're definitely not getting the INTs. So everything is based on the front four getting sacks, stopping the run, and possibly getting turnovers. Every now and then, INTs will pop up. Sometimes things will just go our way, but for the most part, the offense has to step their game up, and everybody knows that if you want to stop the Cowboys, stop Zeke. It's to stop Zeke. So, so yeah, that's gonna be a huge problem, man. Um, so it's not good going into this. I'm telling going into this postseason, bro. For real, it's really not. So I don't know what we can say. I tell you what, they're gonna have to be on if they really talking about winning their first playoff match, and then going into the divisional what is it? Uh, yeah, it's the conference divisions, and then uh, is it, or is it the con? Yeah, hold on. Yeah, so they would have to play 3 games before they even make it to the Super Bowl. Yeah, so it would be the wild card conference division, NFC championship, then the Super Bowl. So I'm not trying to jump the gun or nothing like that, but I'm just saying, what's the point of being in the playoffs if you're not trying to make it to the Super Bowl? So that's like an oxymoron in a sense. Um, but yeah, you really think about what I'm saying, though, fans. Really think about this. The way we're playing, we're predictable offensively. We're becoming more predictable defensively because of the amount of time that they spend on the field. And don't think that the Giants aren't looking to play spoiler. You know what I'm saying? So that could definitely be it. That's another trap game. This is the game I'm talking about because I have a feeling Odell Beckham Jr. he might end up playing in this game. You know what I'm saying? Just so they can try to beat us and, leave us at a 9-6 record. Going to the playoffs, we already limping, um, and it would be the worst thing is taking an L to end the season. That it just don't make sense to me. It just don't. I mean, if you can play, play. Simple as that. But I can't. I will be able to understand if you played the first half and part of the third quarter. Half of a third quarter, and then see. And if we're in the lead, great. If the game is out of hand, then just it's pointless to even play them. Um, but hopefully we'll win that. We'll win outright and get a 10-6 record. So. I just kind of want to put that out there before we before after this game, um, and I might make another video. Um, I might make another video this week or something. But that's for the most part. That's all I really have to say. I mean, because season's damn near over with now. So, um, I'm more looking forward to the all season. But well, to the playoffs for right now. That's what I'm looking for, the playoffs. And then I'm also doing my scouting too. Um, Starting to put my scouting report together. I already have some prospects, but I'm not gonna talk about them right now. It's because the season's not over with. So hopefully they learn from 2016, the preseason, setting their guys and not wanting to come off flat. Go into the season with some momentum by getting this W against the Giants Week 17 as well. But it's Anthony Fallon, Tone Setter Sports. Peace. I'm out.